For 3 years, we were told the megasite was a done deal. We were told the flags were planted. We were told that Donald Trump's wall of tariffs would force the world to build in America or not build at all. Well, 1 minute ago, the fax machines in Montgomery started screaming, and the phone lines in Ottawa started ringing. Japan just pulled the trigger. Toyota isn't just pausing their $9 billion expansion in the American South. They are killing it. And they aren't moving it to Mexico. They aren't taking it back to Japan. They are moving it north. Mark Carney didn't scream. He didn't threaten. He just opened the door. And in doing so, he just handed Donald Trump the single biggest humiliating defeat of his presidency. In the next 40 minutes, I'm going to take you inside the boardroom decision that just cost America 4,000 jobs. I'm going to show you the shadow memo that convinced Tokyo that the United States is no longer a safe place to do business. And I'm going to show you why this isn't just about cars. It's about the end of an era. You are watching history shift, and it's happening right now. Let's be crystal clear about what just happened, because the spin coming out of the White House right now is going to try to confuse you. They're going to call this fake news or a negotiating tactic. It is not. At 8 watts a.m. Tokyo time, the board of directors for Toyota Motor Corporation issued a filing to the Nikkei Stock Exchange. It was short, it was brutal, and it was final. The filing stated that the proposed Project 50 battery and EV assembly plant scheduled to break ground in Huntsville, Alabama next month has been officially terminated. That is $9 billion of capital investment evaporated. That is 4,000 direct, union, and non-union jobs gone. That is an estimated 22,000 support jobs in trucking, logistics, steel, and glass wiped off the map. But that's not the end. Shock. Companies cancel projects all the time. The shock is the second paragraph of that filing. Quote, Toyota has entered into a definitive agreement with the Government of Canada and the Province of Ontario to relocate the facility to the Auto Corridor in Windsor, Essex. Do you understand the magnitude of that? This isn't a company choosing cheap labor. Canadian labor is expensive. This isn't a company choosing a bigger market. The U.S. market is 10 times the size of Canada's. This is a company choosing sanity. This is Japan, one of America's oldest and most loyal allies, looking at the chaos in Washington, looking at the erratic threats coming from Donald Trump's Twitter feed at 3 a.m. and saying, we can't build a future there. And then looking north at Mark Carney, a man who speaks the language of central bankers, who understands risk, who doesn't govern by impulse, and saying, we trust him. This is the moment the Trump discount became real. For months, we've heard rumors. We've heard that Carney was working the phones. We heard that his team was in Davos, quietly meeting with industrial giants, not making headlines, just making promises. Promises of stability, promises of rule of law. Trump was on stage threatening 200% tariffs on anyone who didn't kiss the ring. Carney was in the back room offering a handshake and a spreadsheet. Today, the spreadsheet won. And the most terrifying part for the White House, Toyota isn't the only one packing its bags. This is the first domino. And if you have a 401k or a job in manufacturing or a small business that relies on supply chains, you need to pay attention to what I'm about to show you, because the ground under your feet just moved. I want to stop talking about the feelings here and show you the facts, because the media is going to gloss over why this happened. They're going to say it's about tax credits. They're going to say it's about green energy incentives. Those are lies. I have 3 receipts that prove this was a political calculation. This was a vote of no confidence in Donald Trump. Receipt number 1, the Risk Premium Report. 3 weeks ago, a leaked internal risk assessment from a major Japanese banking conglomerate, the bank that finances Toyota's massive projects, started circulating in Tokyo. We've seen parts of this document. It doesn't talk about profit margins. It talks about political volatility. The report explicitly flags the United States as a high-risk jurisdiction for long-term capital. Think about that. The United States, the bedrock of global capitalism, is now considered high risk. Why? Because of the tariff man. The report cites Trump's threat to tear up the USMCA trade deal. It cites his threat to seize foreign assets if companies don't comply with his political demands. It cites the fact that policy in Washington changes every time the president gets angry at a news segment. The bank told Toyota, if you build in Alabama, your factory could be held hostage. They told them, if you build in Canada, you have access to the U.S. market through the trade deal, but you are physically safe from Trump's executive orders. That is the calculation. They are building in Canada to protect themselves from the President of the United States. Receipt number 2, the Huntsville halt. Let's look at the ground level. Local reporters in Alabama have been noticing something strange for the last 10 days. The site prep work. It stopped. The heavy machinery that was supposed to be grading the land, it was loaded back onto trucks last Tuesday. When the local mayor called the White House for help, reports say he couldn't even get a meeting. The Trump administration was too busy fighting a Twitter war with the European Union to notice that their biggest economic win of the year was walking out the back door. We have footage from local news showing an empty field where the groundbreaking was supposed to happen. That empty field is the monument to America First. It's empty because capital is a coward. Money is scared of noise, and Trump is nothing but noise. Receipt number 3, the Carney calendar. While Trump was holding rallies, look at Mark Carney's schedule for the last month. January 12th, a quiet dinner in Tokyo with the CEO of Toyota. January 14th, a video conference with the heads of 3 major Japanese banks. January 20th, the Canadian industry minister flies to Nagoya, Toyota's headquarters. Not for a photo op, but for a technical briefing. They were doing the work. While Trump was screaming about how the world is ripping America off, Carney was showing them a map of Ontario. He was showing them the lithium supply chains in northern Quebec. He was showing them the port access. He wasn't selling Canada as a superpower. He was selling Canada as the adult in the room. And here is the kicker. Sources in Ottawa are saying that Carney gave Toyota a specific guarantee, a sovereignty shield. Essentially a promise that if the U.S. tries to slap illegal tariffs on these Canadian-made cars, the Canadian government will cover the difference until the courts strike it down. Carney put the Canadian Treasury on the line to steal this deal. That is aggressive. That is high-stakes poker. And he just rad in the biggest pot of the decade. Look at the stock charts this morning. Toyota stock up 4%. The market loves this move. General Motors and Ford down because they are stuck in the chaos zone and their competitor just found a safe harbor. The market is voting, and the market is saying that Canada is the future of the North American auto industry, and the U.S. is a liability. So why is this happening now? Why did Toyota pull the trigger today? Because Trump is losing control of the narrative. For the last year, Trump has operated on a simple theory: fear. He believed that if he made enough threats, if he scared companies enough, they would have no choice but to kneel. He thought he had all the leverage. He thought the U.S. consumer market was so big that no one could afford to leave it. He forgot one thing. You don't need to be in the U.S. to sell to the U.S. Canada is right there. It's across a bridge. It's across a river. Trump tried to build a wall around the American economy, but he locked the companies in with him, and now they feel trapped. Every time Trump announces a new tariff, he thinks he's being strong. But what he's actually doing is raising the cost of doing business in America. Think about it. If you build a car in Alabama and Trump puts a 25% tariff on the steel you need from Japan, your car just got more expensive. But if you build that same car in Windsor, Ontario, Canada has a free trade deal with Japan. No tariffs on steel. And Canada has a free trade deal with Europe. And Canada has a free trade deal with the U.S. Mark Carney has turned Canada into a duty-free shop for the global economy. And Trump can't figure out how to stop it. He is reacting. You can see it in his behavior. Reports from the West Wing this morning describe absolute fury. Aides are being fired. Phones are being thrown. He's threatening to ban Toyota from selling cars in America. But he can't. If he bans Toyota, he destroys the dealerships in Texas, in Florida, in Ohio. He destroys the mechanics. He raises the price of used cars for you, the voter, by 30% overnight. He is trapped. He can scream, he can tweet, but he cannot stop a private company from deciding that his leadership is too risky. This is the failure of the bully strategy. When you bully your allies, they don't just take it. They organize. They find alternatives. Japan and Canada just formed an alliance of convenience. They looked at each other and said, "We need to survive this guy." And Carney, he's playing a completely different game. Carney isn't trying to be the loudest voice in the room. He's trying to be the smartest. While Trump is obsessed with the stock market number for today, Carney is looking at where the supply chains will be in 10 years. Carney knows that the world is moving away from oil and toward electricity. He knows that the batteries need minerals. Canada has the minerals. He knows that manufacturers need clean energy. Quebec and Ontario have hydro and nuclear. He knows that CEOs need sleep. They need to know that the rules won't change tomorrow morning. Carney is selling boring. And right now, boring is worth billions. You have to understand, for a CEO of a global company, Trump is a nightmare. You can't plan. You can't budget. You don't know if he's going to wake up and declare your product illegal. Carney is the antidote to that nightmare. He stands at the podium, adjusts his glasses, and speaks in complete sentences. He talks about frameworks. He talks about predictability. It's not exciting TV, but it is exactly what money wants to hear. And that is why Trump is losing. He thinks this is a reality TV show. He thinks the winner is the one who gets the most ratings. But this is the global economy, and the winner is the one who gets the factories. Today, Canada got the factory, and America got the ratings. Let's go deeper into Carney's strategy here, because this is a masterclass in modern statecraft. Most Canadian prime ministers, when faced with U.S. pressure, they fold. They try to be nice. They try to bake a cake for the president and hope he doesn't hurt them. Carney didn't bake a cake. He built a fortress. He realized that Canada cannot compete with the U.S. on size. He can't compete on military power, but he can compete on competence. He positioned Canada as the Western alternative. The pitch to Toyota wasn't, "We are better than America." The pitch was, "We are America without the drama." We speak English. We use the same electrical plugs. We watch the same movies. We drive on the same side of the road. But we don't have a president who threatens to seize your assets. It is a brilliant wedge strategy. And notice how Carney did this. He didn't announce it until the ink was dry. Trump announces deals that don't exist. He holds press conferences for factories that never get built. Carney waited. He let the lawyers finish the paperwork. He let the money hit the bank account. And then he let the world know. This signals to every other CEO, to Apple, to Samsung, to BMW, that Carney is a serious operator. If you leak a deal with Trump, he might blow it up just to be the center of attention. If you do a deal with Carney, it stays done. This is going to trigger a stampede. I guarantee you right now, in boardrooms in Seoul, in Berlin, in London, executives are looking at this Toyota news. They are looking at their own expansion plans for the U.S. And they are asking, why take the risk? Why risk a Trump tantrum when we can just go to Ontario? Carney has created a safe zone in North America. He has essentially annexed the industrial capacity of the American Midwest and moved it across the border. And he did it without firing a shot. He did it with a handshake. This is what sovereignty looks like in the 21st century. It's not about having the biggest army. It's about having the most trusted banks. It's about having the most reliable government. Carney is betting that in a world of chaos, stability is the most valuable currency. And today, that bet paid out $9 billion. Now, I want to talk to you directly. I want to talk to the guy in Ohio, the family in Michigan, the worker in Alabama who just got the bad news. What does this mean for you? You might be thinking, well, it's just one factory. Who cares? You should care, because this is the leak in the dam. When the auto industry moves, everything moves. The glass manufacturers move to be near the assembly plant. The seat manufacturers move. The electronic suppliers move. The robotics technicians move. This creates a gravity well. As Windsor and Toronto and Montreal become the hubs for the next generation of manufacturing, the jobs in the U.S. start to dry up. And here's the terrifying part for the American consumer prices. If these cars are built in Canada and Trump decides to put a tariff on them out of spite, who pays that tariff? Toyota doesn't pay it. Mark Carney doesn't pay it. You pay it. If Trump slaps a 20% tariff on Canadian cars, the price of your next vehicle just went up $8,000. Carney knows this. He knows that Trump can't afford to hurt American voters that badly. He knows that inflation is the one thing that can destroy a presidency. So Carney is holding the American wallet hostage. He is effectively saying to Trump, go ahead, tax us. But you'll be taxing your own voters. You'll be driving up inflation in your own swing states. It is a leverage trap. And Trump walked right into it. This also signals the end of American exceptionalism in business. For 70 years, the rule was, if you want to be big, you have to be in America. Toyota just broke that rule. They proved you can be big, you can be global, and you can bypass the United States entirely. If this trend continues, the U.S. stops being the center of the world. It becomes an island of high prices, angry politics, and rusting factories, while the rest of the world, Canada, Europe, Asia, builds a network around it. That is the danger. That is the real threat to national security. Not immigrants, not China, but the loss of economic relevance. And the man responsible for that loss is sitting in the Oval Office, tweeting about how he's winning. There is a photo circulating on social media right now that perfectly captures this moment. It was taken an hour ago in Huntsville, Alabama. It shows a chain-link fence around the site where the Toyota plant was supposed to be. There's a sign zip-tied to the fence. It's faded. It says, "Coming soon, 4,000 American jobs." And right next to that sign, a worker is taking down the American flag. He's folding it up. You can see the dust kicking up around his boots. The site is dead quiet. Meanwhile, 1,000 miles north in Windsor, Ontario, the lights are on at the convention center. Champagne is being poured. The Japanese delegation is bowing to the Canadian delegation. In Alabama, they are taking down the flag. In Canada, they are breaking ground. That isn't just a business deal. That is a transfer of power. So, where do we go from here? Because this fight is far from over. I see 3 scenarios playing out in the next 48 hours. Scenario A, the Trump tantrum. This is the most likely. Trump wakes up, sees the coverage on Fox News, and goes nuclear. He announces immediate 100% tariffs on all Canadian imports. He closes the border crossings. He tries to strangle the Canadian economy to force Toyota back. If he does this, the stock market crashes. The U.S. auto industry halts within 3 days because they need Canadian parts. It's economic suicide, but he might do it. Scenario B, the quiet beg. Trump realizes he messed up. He sends his commerce secretary to Tokyo to beg. They offer Toyota even more money. They offer tax breaks that don't exist. They try to bribe them back, but it's too late. The contracts are signed. And the Japanese culture values honor. Breaking a signed deal with Carney to go back to the man who threatened them. It won't happen. Scenario C, the floodgates open. This is the Carney victory lap. In the next few weeks, we hear about another company. Maybe Honda, maybe Siemens. maybe a massive pharmaceutical company. They follow Toyota's lead. They realize Canada is open for business, and the US is closed for repairs. If this happens, the flow of capital turns into a rushing river, and the US enters a manufacturing recession, while Canada enters a boom. My money is on the tantrum. Trump cannot handle humiliation, and he has never been humiliated like this. He is going to lash out. He is going to try to hurt Canada. But Carney is ready. Carney has the war chest. Carney has the allies. This isn't just a trade dispute anymore. This is a battle for the soul of the North American continent. Is it going to be ruled by the chaos of one man or by the stability of the law? Toyota cast their vote. Now we wait to see how the king responds. This is a wake-up call. America, you were told that America first meant you would win. You were told that the world needed you more than you needed them. Today, Japan and Canada prove that wrong. They prove that they can build the future without you. Mark Carney didn't just steal a factory. He stole the narrative. He proved that you can say no to Donald Trump and not only survive, but thrive. The factory in Alabama is empty. The jobs are gone. The money is in Ontario. And the only thing left in Washington is the noise. I want to know what you think. Is this a smart move by Toyota? Or are they underestimating Trump's revenge? And do you trust Carney to hold the line when the pressure gets real? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. And make sure you subscribe and hit that bell, because if Trump decides to shut down the border tomorrow morning in retaliation, you are going to need to know about it first. This is the new reality. Stay awake.